I know exactly why a bunch of you clicked on this one because you've been asking about it in the comments for weeks. It's about the potting mix experiment. You know, the three blends, the three little trees, the whole thing that I told you about a while back, and then went suspiciously quiet on. So, yeah, let's talk about that. Plus, a couple of other bits of news from behind the scenes. So, here's where the experiment stands. It survived the hot stretch, which was the whole test that I was waiting on. And I'll tell you this much without spoiling the full video. The Swampy blend never recovered its dignity. The fast draining one had me watering it like it was a part time job all by itself. And the middle blend, the one that I was cautiously optimistic about, came through, and it came through the heat looking genuinely great. You know, the tree in it, barely blinked. I've got weeks of foliage, notes on everything, and the full breakdown is actually in editing right now. It'll be worth the wait, I think, because now when I tell you what to put in your pots, I'm not guessing. I watched it happen firsthand. The second bit of news, the mystery tree, the dwarf variety that I wouldn't name because I hadn't actually grown it yet. Well, it's settled in. It's pushed a load of healthy new growth, and it's the part that got me. It's already setting its first fruit, way ahead of when I thought it was actually going to come in. So way ahead of expected for sure. I'm still not naming it because I want to see that fruit actually ripen and taste it before I put a recommendation on this channel. But between us, I'm getting pretty excited. If the fruit's any good, this might be the beginner tree that I've been looking for. Now, some less glamorous news. We had a storm blow through a couple weeks ago that turned the growing area into a bowling alley. Pots down everywhere, one cracked, soil all over the place, a couple of snapped branches on the bigger trees. Nothing fatal, thankfully. I spent a morning standing everything back up. Repotting the cracked one, pruning the damage clean, all of that. But it was a good reminder that when you garden in pots, wind is your sneakiest enemy. And I've tucked the taller ones into a more sheltered spot because of that. Lesson absorbed the hard way, as usual. So yeah, the question and answer video that I mentioned last time is nearly done too. Your questions end up being better than my answers in a couple of spots, which is exactly how I like it. And it forced me to go test two things that I had been confidently repeating without ever actually checking. Both survived the checking, thankfully. You will be pleased to hear that. Barely, in just one of the cases. But, looking now a little bit further ahead, I've started planning the cold weather content because, if you grow fruit in pots, the tricky season is coming. And I want you to be ready before it arrives, not scrambling after the first frost has already had its way. Had its way with your trees. Pots freeze faster than the ground. Roots are, they're more exposed, and every year I watch people lose good trees to a cold snap that a little preparation would have probably just shrugged off. Not this year. Not on my watch. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and one of you sent me a photo this week of a balcony absolutely dripping with fruit. Trees you started after watching this channel. I stared at that picture for a solid minute. I was grinning like an idiot. That's the whole job. Right there in one photo. All right, and that's the state of things. Experiment wrapped up, and it's in editing. The mystery tree is overachieving. Storm damage is patched up. Your questions are about to get their answers. A couple good videos landing soon. And for once, I can say that with actual confidence. because the footage already exists. Thank you for your patience. And yeah, thanks for caring enough about 3 pots of dirt to keep asking about them. Genuinely, that made the whole saga, the whole slog, it made it worth it.